Good evening. Your time now is 5:52. I'm Jeannette Reyes.
And I'm Mona Kosarabdi, and this is Off the Record.
Not for real. This is Off the Record. For family and community, what are some things that you would do differently? What would you tell young Mona?
What I would tell young Mona, I would say, it's hard. It's hard because I feel like I already did this and I told you guys this before, where I would drop anything for my mom because you don't know how long, God willing, your parents are going to stay here for a very long time, but you don't know. And I think sometimes we prioritize our friends, we prioritize everyone else, and we expect that we're just going to have plenty more time to come. And so making time and being present during that time with your family is so important.
Yeah, same.
Even in your 20s. Like, I understand that you have so much going on. You're traveling, you're doing this. But if you can find the time to carve out and be fully present and do something, maybe you plan a trip. I know it's hard in your early 20s when you're making money, when you're not making great money. But it doesn't even have to be that. It just checking in on your family is so important.
I would agree. You spend so much of your 20s grinding. You know what I mean? You're already in this business. You're not getting the holidays off. I wish I would have been more intentional about spending time with family. It's weird when you're in your 30s, or I don't know if it happens at different stages for people, but suddenly age, not necessarily you personally, but like age, you start realizing, oh my gosh, like people, like the people I love and my elders and my aunts, they're getting old. Like, you know what I mean? And you start to realize they're not going to be here forever. And I wish I would have been more intentional about spending time with family. And it doesn't have to be a big thing. That's the thing. It doesn't have to be a big to-do, a big production, a huge, let's just wait till the family reunion. It takes forever to do it with my family because we need a strong type A personality in the family. Because organizing these family reunions is a task. So you keep on putting it off and then years go by and you're like, man, we haven't gotten together in forever. Yeah. So I would be much more intentional about that. I will say I've done a better job of it. Like anytime I go to the Dominican Republic, I get a big Airbnb, invite my aunts, my uncles, and it's just the whole family kicking it in the Airbnb.
Maybe you're the type A. You're the one they needed. Yeah. It's you.
I'm the person. Yeah, I need help. But I will say it has been so fulfilling, like especially with your older family, like when you're able to do things for them that they weren't able to do for themselves. And you're like, this is for me at least. This is the point of it. Yeah.
I'm going to take a little left because I was going to say one big thing that I encourage everyone to do is to check in with just the norms, your family norms that most likely are toxic.
Ooh.
I think sometimes we think things are just the way they are, but I think that certain cultures, certain family dynamics do not serve you and are actually mentally causing you harm.
Like what?
I would say, for example, I could just speak for collective communities, right? So like if you're in a collective community and you have to do things for your family. Sometimes it's to your detriment. You have to go out of your way. Where too much falls on you when you're trying to build a life and you're trying to do stuff. I think the way people talk to each other. I have a few family members that love to do the when I was there, you didn't do X, Y, and Z, so therefore now I'm going to cut you off or I'm going to start issues or there's no understanding. And so I feel like sometimes there's no room to tolerate passive-aggressive behavior like that. Obviously, people who put you down. Fortunately, I don't like directly haven't experienced that, but in families, that is a thing. And so setting boundaries with your family members. And I think going to therapy in your 20s, you really see like, oh, things that I just thought were commonplace really aren't, right? Yeah. Your aunt isn't supposed to call you, hey, fatty, every time she sees you, or hey, skinny, you need to eat.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yeah. So setting the boundaries. I think actually, let me run it back because the two that I forgot that actually kill me are shame and guilt. People who try to guilt you into things and people who try to shame you into doing what they want and using those as tools. So like there's no room in my life for anyone trying to guilt me because I didn't do something or trying to shame me so that they can get their way.
Yeah, one of the episodes where you kept us.
Ooh. And I brought the pen out.
Yes. It was the rebrand for 2025, both personally and professionally.
Yeah.
Mona and I are going through what we call our sexy Martha Stewart era.
Very much so.
Love that.
It is
That's so
It's
good.
loaded phrase.
we're trying to do a lot of like, the hosting stuff, a lot of the homemaker stuff, but still go out.
Still be fly.
Yeah, and still be fly. So the girlies can do both.
Yes.
But we've been talking a lot about rebranding, and you did an episode on that. It's very fitting. It's the beginning of the year. So can you touch a little bit about that episode, and also what does it take to rebrand?
Yeah. I had been thinking so much about how much my life has changed over the past couple of years. And funny enough, I mean, I feel like I connected with you guys via TikTok, and something that it'll do is it'll pull your old videos up back to you. And so last year, late 2024, I was just seeing some of my old stuff that was serving up to me that I had posted in like 2021, 2022. And I'm like, who even is that person? She just was living a totally different life. And so it just got me thinking about wanting to be more intentional in my own evolution. And I think having a marketing background, I'm always thinking about ways to make something sound more fun so that I want to do it. And I was like, rebrand. That just sounds way better than, growth or like evolution. It just sounded like something more fun that I had more agency in when it came to how I enter the next chapter of my life.
So let's talk about what it takes, because for me, rebrand, what I think of is 2 a.m., I pull out my laptop and I'm like, I'm going to reimagine my entire life on Pinterest right now. But then I don't actually act on it. It's just almost like a ritual. And I just feel like, thank you. That felt like I accomplished something. And then I close the laptop, put it away. And the next year, same spot. So what does it take if you really do want to not only just talk about it, but put action behind your words?
Yeah, I love that question. I would say I'm a big calendar person. And so for me, anytime I'm thinking about goals that I have, intentions that I have, whatever my focus is, if I couldn't pull up my calendar and see dedicated time, couldn't tell what that goal or what that focus is from looking at my calendar, then it's not real. So I'm always thinking about, okay, what are like the daily, weekly, monthly actions that I can take that help me become that version of myself that I want to be? And I think what's often hardest for people is you have to be willing to do things differently. And we can get in ruts or routines where we do things the same and then wonder why we're the same. And so I think getting comfortable, trying new things and doing things differently, and for me, holding myself accountable to doing things differently has been a big part of it.
How do you, because holding yourself accountable, people would agree that's very important. That's something that we should all do. How do you make sure that you do that? Because I think there's the most disappointing thing is when you fall short of your goals, and it's almost like you're betraying yourself. Like you start to trust yourself less when you set a goal that you're actually going to accomplish it. So how do you make sure that you hold yourself accountable and you stay true to your goals?
Mm-hmm. This kind of relates to what we were talking about before we started recording. So you've kind of talked about your fitness journey and how you're getting more into it. I really think that fitness is what taught me how to be the person who does that, because it taught me how to have more discipline, how to create more structure for myself, how to do hard things and realize that I can and work towards it. So I got really interested in fitness in my early 20s. And I would say before that, I was somebody who gave up on things very easily. I never saw anything through. I was not very accountable. I was not very disciplined about anything. And when I got more into fitness, it taught me how to be more disciplined. It taught me how to hold myself accountable. And I thought, okay, if I can wake up early and if I can do this workout that was hard, then maybe in the middle of the day I can do this other thing that was hard. And so it's one of those things that I call a daily deposit. It's something that helped me build the skill set of holding myself accountable more. And once I got it set in the fitness area, I was able to apply it to other areas.
You know, I'll add something, and Mona, I'd love to hear how you hold yourself accountable too. But one of the hacks I figured out with me is I've been trying to stick to waking up at 5:30 in the morning, because I've realized, like, I might be a night owl, but the world just does not cater to night owls, right? So I put my Pilates classes for 6:30 in the morning, because one of the things I hate doing is wasting money. So what's gonna get me out of bed is I can't waste these $32.
Yes.
And it's worked. Like, it's just been the hack. Whereas if it's just working out just to get the workout in, I'm gonna tell you right now, like, I'll be like, we can just do it tomorrow, right? So what would you say for you? Like, how have you found a way to like hack it?
abuse. I'm like, girl, if you don't get up, the whole world is up right now and you're going to be left behind. So yes, but I don't recommend that because what ends up happening is you just like, it's kind of negative, right? And then you just beat yourself up so much where you're like, look at that. You were supposed to work out 4 days a week and you only got in 3. And I learned you're actually supposed to celebrate like, wow, I got 3 in.
Yeah.
But that is a very effective motivator for a short period of time, I will say. Yeah. But I guess it's easier said than done sometimes, right? Because when that alarm is ringing and you are tired and it is cold outside, fitness is an easy one to point to because consistency gives you results, right? And so it's easy to say, this is the goal that I want, this is what I need to do, but actually doing it is really hard. So what do you suggest for people who just feel like, I may have a good 2 weeks and that 3rd week I just get derailed?
Yeah. I've had to kind of manipulate myself into it over the years. And something that's really helped me is taking it on as an identity. So instead of being like, do I want to get up and do this thing today? I tell myself I am a person who does this thing, whether that's working out or whether that's like reading. I've gotten really into reading over the past few years, and I talk a lot about that, even though it's something I didn't used to do. It wasn't like, do I want to work out today or do I want to read today? It was like, no, you get up and you work out. That's who you are. You are a reader, so pull out your Kindle and read. Or you are a journaler, so I have to trick myself into saying like, this is who I am. And it almost takes the choice out of it a little bit. Because if we're relying on motivation of like, when I want to do this, we're never going to do it.
What advice would you give yourself? And like, what have you learned?
I mean, I think the biggest piece of advice, which can sound kind of like a throwaway piece of advice, but like, you genuinely need to be kind to everyone because you don't know where people are going. People move around the industry all the time. The person that's at Fox today might be at ABC tomorrow. The person that's at E today might be at Netflix tomorrow, which literally happened to me. And I've been blessed to have opportunities because the people who are moving around are fans of mine, love me, know my work ethic, know how I show up, know that I respect my job, and the people who are on the crew. It doesn't matter who you are. I'm introducing myself to everybody. I don't care if you're the DP. I don't care if you're the showrunner. I don't care if you're the person bringing me my water bottle and a fan. Like, I want to know your name. I want to, interact with you in some way, even with my casts. Like, producers were shocked when I did Are You the One in X on the Beach with how much time I spent after the camera stopped rolling with getting to know my cast. And I'm like, because I'm asking them to be vulnerable with me as a host, even on Catfish. Like, how am I going to get you to open up about something that is a real fear for you or your daddy issues or your abusive ex? How am I supposed to get you to open up to me if I don't know you? And I'm just standing on this podium, calling your name and asking you to reveal something to me. And then when the camera stopped rolling, boop, bye.
I think people underestimate, and when you're younger, how small the business is. It's incestuous and people talk.
Yes.
Like word travels fast.
Oh, yeah.
And then you don't know why you didn't get the job, but it's because they asked about you. You know what I mean? And you're not doing yourself any favors. I wonder, you alluded to this in something that I saw where you talked about last year, how it was a really like either your hardest year or just a really hard year. Why has that been the case?
I mean, I think I was really struggling with what I knew I needed to do with leaving the show.
So it had to do with that. Okay.
Yeah, I was really, really struggling, and I was, still trying to do my job, but it was very difficult. And it was just, I was exhausted. And I also, the show is a beast on its own, and it's a very unique show. It's not like other TV. Like, it's not like any show that I know. There are some shows where people can go into a studio and bang out 4 episodes in a day. It takes us 4 to 5 days to do 1 episode. So, except for in COVID, we were able to do episodes in 2 days, sometimes 3. But you're traveling across the country, changing time zones all the time, sleeping in not the best hotels.
Dang.
You got to check for bed bugs every time you get in there. You can't even just lay your body down. Like, it doesn't matter what time it is. Sometimes we're landing at an airport, the main airport, but the actual location of where a hotel is 2.5 hours away. Ooh. So you might land at 10 p.m., but by the time you get to your hotel and get to sleep, it's now 2 a.m. and you got to be up 7:30, 8:30, whatever it might be. You're in a different time zone. You're being kicked back 3 hours, forward 3 hours, whatever. Wake up. We do the first scene, have a little break, go back, meet with the person, get to know them, and they're divulging a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm someone who, like I said, I'm very, very involved. Like there's not a piece of it, of your life that I don't want to know about.
Right.
I want to be fully engaged and locked into that. But it is a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And 6 years of that. And also we were like on-call doctors. It's not like there's a schedule. They don't say, hey, we're going to be filming from May to August these days. No, it's literally boop, boop. I get a text. Hey, what's today? Monday? Wednesday, you're flying to Alaska for 5 days. So if you have a hair appointment, a gyno appointment, you got your best friend's birthday, a wedding, forget it.
So how is Cammie now? Like life, I wonder if
Free.
it's similar to, yes! I wonder.
So I'm having heart palpitations over here because that sounds like a correspondent schedule. And that was a schedule I did for like about 2 years. And it is, it's a lot. It's taxing. You just want to be home sometimes. It also is like you could be in the middle of dinner and someone calls you and you got to drop everything.
It's anxiety inducing. I was having panic attacks a lot. I was landing, if I landed at LAX knowing that I was going to have to pick back up, because if we do back-to-back episodes, you might have 2 days in between. If I knew I was going to have to go back, I'm talking hyperventilating on the plane, like crying through the airport, praying that nobody recognizes me because I can't breathe.
Wow.
I had to really like do a lot of work in the anxiety department. I didn't want to get on any type of like medication, but I had to like do some, natural remedies and like, that sounds like weed. It wasn't weed because actually I can't smoke. I'm not a good smoker, but I had to do some natural remedies. No, but like L-theanine and like GABA, like the LA stuff that like can keep your anxiety down. I developed, life-changing gut health issues. Just from anxiety and honestly, like maybe like mild depression. Wow. It was a lot. There was a lot going on, and there was you also can't complain. Like you're not. Yeah. I remember one time I posted a story. We had done like 3 episodes back to back to back, and like I don't think I had really seen my bed. My apartment became like my changing room. Like it was like literally a changing room, clothes everywhere.
Pit stop.
Like pretty much my suitcase stayed packed. And I posted a story of me like on the plane, and I was like, I think I had taken like 10 planes in like a week and a half. And I was like 10th plane in a week and a half, like I'm going through it. And I got like at least 3 DMs being like, you should be grateful. Some people don't have the opportunities you have. Some people have never even been on a plane. I've never even been outside of my state. I'm like, I'm sure at your job, wherever that is, you complain some days. I don't care if you are Beyonce.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me Beyonce has not ever woken up one day on that tour when her feet are burning and her body, like literally your body is aching, burning.
Yeah.
And been like, fuck this job.
Yeah.
We've all done it.
Absolutely.
We've all done it. It doesn't matter what you do.
There's been a lot of conversation about the disparity between Black creators and white creators. How you gotta, it sounds familiar, work 10 times harder just to be possibly on the same level. What are your thoughts on that? How much truth have you seen that there is to that?
Oh, I think there is absolute truth to that. I think it is absolutely structural. And that is why I've spoken about this on my YouTube channel before, that people say what they want to say about management and being signed to an agency, especially because they take a cut. But the amount that I would get from a deal, I think the first time I had this realization, I'll give you an example. The first time I signed a trial with an agency, I had quoted a brand that I had worked with and had a strong relationship with. And whatever the deliverables were, I told them that my rate was $1,000. We hadn't locked in anything yet. So when I had said that I I was like, things have changed. I now have representation, so I'm going to hand the conversation off to them. They came back and they were like, yeah, so it's now $7,000. That's what we were able to get from them. And I'm like, the 20% that you take, the 80% that I'm left with after you've taken your 20% is still
A lot more.
multiple times what I was even going to get and ask for. And so a lot of times I do think agencies help with kind of leveling the playing field. I have a very strong, like my manager advocates for me, but I will say not everyone feels that way. Like not everyone gets to feel like they are being advocated for strongly by a manager. Sometimes they're just, again, not seen as important. And that's when where even having an agency or having the relationships doesn't mean much, because you know, it's really personal. Like it's the same way I say, whatever corporate environment you've been in, it's the same exact dynamics in the influencer industry. And I think people think that they see lip gloss and hairspray and they're like, oh, like it's just, and I'm like, no, it's the exact same way where, you know, they're calling up their buddy to do the deal, to close on the deal. And it's the same thing. Like, oh, I love this girl. She's on my For You page. Like, let's pay her big bucks because I really do like her. Like, I really like her vibe. And sometimes that's really how it is. And I think we hide behind, oh, this brand and that brand, when it's like the brands are made up of individuals. And so yeah, it's really tough because individuals have their own beliefs and their own biases and their own perception of who is worth what and whose content is worthwhile. And so it takes a lot of advocating and a lot of other people who are decision makers opening their minds to seeing what their role is.
When you said that, it reminded me of what my manager said once, which is, like you said, these agencies are made up of people who are going off of the people they follow on their pages and who's popping up on their For You page. And the algorithm is giving them more of what they like to see. And oftentimes it's people who look like them. And so when she's been on the agency side and they're looking for a Black creator for something, they're like, do you know a Black creator who would be good? And they don't see them enough or follow enough of them on their page. And you're literally not on their radar. And an agency can help give you that visibility, but the playing field is just, there's so much leveling that needs to be done in favor of Black creators.
Or
I was gonna, go ahead.
On the and to add on to that, I've even wrestled with this, not just do you know any Black creators, but I feel like even as Black creators, it's very easy to pull out the same names from the hat. And as I've been thinking about, and I just spoke about how I don't really, I don't always like to big up myself and see the influence, but I've reached a certain level I'm starting to realize where like, it's time to start being like, hey, it's the same, I'm being one of the same people that's asked to do something. How can I start like looking, I'm like, it's a responsibility of mine to actively look and engage with content from new creators and repost them and follow them. And so that when the time comes and I can say, hey, it's the same group of 20 Black women that you're bringing forth for these opportunities. There are more girls who are on the come up. There are girls who are worth your time and attention. And it doesn't have to be like, oh, we have a Black girl. We know, look, we follow Black girls.
Girl,
and it's like, it's the same vibe. It's the same. It's starting to be the same Black girls at these events when I'm meeting a ton of new white women at these events. It's never really the same
but
event.
What I do, and the sad part about that, and what I hate, is that this narrative's now been created where it's like, don't even try because you're not going to get these brand deals. And it's like, no, it's not true, but it is. It's like saying, don't become a lawyer because it's a majority white industry. No, you can still be a lawyer. You just know the reality and the obstacles.
Awareness.
So, and it's just like, I hate this narrative now where it's like, just because you see insert white creator that's huge and getting all these like, hundreds of thousands of dollars for a brand deal, that's not going to be you because you're Black. But it's like, no, you can, but you just have to understand the industry that you're navigating and understand that the same politics that you have to face in corporate America are the same politics that have transferred over.
Yeah.
But what would you say to somebody who is like, they see you, they look up to you, they want to pursue content creation, but they feel, I don't have the clothes, I don't have the makeup, I don't have this. What would you say to them?
You have to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere. Everyone, I'm not going to say no one, because some people really are really born wealthy, and that's what draws people to their content. But you have to start somewhere. Everyone who is big now at once started a new account with no followers. There's someone who cares. There's someone who if it's just one person who's listening, like think about how valuable that is. Think about how special that is to have one person, 5 people, 10 people, 200 views. Like that is meaningful. So yeah, it's more fun when there's a journey. It's so much more fun to be like, wow, look at where I started.
And you're
at.
more interesting.
Yeah.
That way, yeah.
And you just feel more proud. Like I'm like, wow, look at that video. This is where I started from. Like, whoa, I'm so glad that there was room for me to grow. It's like what they say about like people like having a glow up. Like, do you want to start off cute in like the 3rd grade and then all you can go is bottom?
Yeah, you don't
like,
want to peak in high school.
Exactly.
Right.